I'm so sorry I'm late today. TikTok was being so aggy and would not let me get on for like 5 minutes. And I wanted to promote this live and then I had to like recharge their coin thing. So I'm so sorry. That's my fault. I'm gonna try to get ahead of that next time, but my bad, y'all. Um, yeah, my bad, my bad. Um, Okay, so let's go over like a couple things before whoever catches this, whoever doesn't, right? I can't even fault them for being late because I was too, but there's a couple of grant applications. If you haven't already done them, go through the funding opportunity list and try to see if you can get those done because there's a couple of them that are coming up tomorrow. Actually, there's a couple deadlines tomorrow. So if you can get through those, that'd be great. I'm going to try to pull up the list right now to see what they are. There's some that were due yesterday. One of them is the DW. I don't think we actually did this one. Let me see if we could do this one. Because if we could do this one and it's due tomorrow, that'd be great. So, okay. So this one closes tomorrow. It says, so they're gonna announce the winner in June. Awards Dwen memberships. $40,000 in Dell Technology. So I don't know if you guys are interested in this one. I don't think I'm going to do this one. But there's a $40,000 Dell Technology grant for first place winner. A grand prize winner. Second place is $15,000 and third place winner is $5,000 in technology. So I don't think I'm going to do this one on live, but I encourage you to do it anyway because $40,000 worth of technology is still a really good product. You'll get like Dell is not super expensive anyway, so you can get like really good customized products worth that much. So definitely consider doing that one. Okay. No matter how you work Dell. Okay. So there's that one. So it's called, so if you go to dwen.com, then you can get information on that grant. And I'm gonna send an email with the ones that are coming up with the deadline too. So if you're on the email list, then you'll get that email with all of the ones that the deadlines that are coming up tomorrow. All right. Let me just make a note to do that. Tomorrow's deadlines. Okay. And then exciting news. I got an email yesterday that said that they had noticed that the quality of the applications were improving. And I emailed the lady back and asked her how she knew it was tied to me. Don't know yet, but I was very shocked. And maybe it's because of the fact that we've been putting mental money on the applications as to where you found out, which is what I wanted, right? Remember where I was telling you guys to do that? So, yeah. They are definitely noticing the quality of the applications improving. The competition is getting steep, y'all. So I hope you guys stick around. Keep refining your answers, keep refining your proposals, so that we can get closer to getting this money. That's what that means to me, that they're going to be looking to fund some of these people, right? So I'm excited about that. Yeah. So any questions before we start? Because we have to finish yesterday's application and I want to go through one more today because it's somewhat easy and let me see, it's somewhat easy and I think this would be a good opportunity for a lot of us. Okay. So let's see. I'm excited today. I'm on 10. That email, I got the email yesterday, but I saw it today because I didn't check my email yesterday. So I'm on like cloud 9 right now. I'm so excited. I love getting emails like that. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm in a really good mood. So let's talk. If there's any questions or anything that you want to ask before we get started, let me know. And if not, then we're gonna jump right in. I'm just joining. When will you be in again? I don't think I'll be on again until Wednesday. And only because there's no opportunities that are coming up outside of that. We did the one that would be coming up on the 1st, the Embracing Equity Grants. I think we did that one already. I remember. Oh, no, it's not. I'll tell you guys about that one too. Okay, so there's one that's called Embracing Equity that's coming up on the 1st, so on Monday. So if you want to do that one, I would suggest that you go ahead and apply. We can go through the application now. Let's just go through the application. We'll go through that application and also the one that we were supposed to finish yesterday. This one is a little bit different. They structured it so that you are applying, but then there's like a voting part of it too, like a voting element. So what they're asking you is to fill out the application, and then they want you to share a video on your social networks. And then once you share that video, they're going to be asking you to vote. So they're going to give you a link where you can either put it in your bio or something. And they're going to ask you guys to ask your friends, people in your social networks to vote for your business. Now, grants can do this, if in case you were wondering, right? This is not like a weird thing for them to ask. It kind of helps them get. Okay, so let's think of it from a marketing perspective, right? Whenever you go on a landing page or a business page, usually if the business is structured correctly for marketing purposes, there's going to be a pixel attached to that page, right? So they want people to come on there because they want to not only get the applicant's information, but they also want to get information on the people, or like retargeting data on the people that are coming on these landing pages. So them building it out this way is not surprising to me at all from a marketing standpoint, okay? So this one, we'll do this one first. So the first one is Fin Impact. And again, I'm not, to answer your previous question, I'm not coming on again until Wednesday because I don't think there's any other applications that are closing outside of the ones that I'm going to mention to you today, or the ones that this one that we're doing that's coming up on the 1st, which is Monday, right? So if you are on the email list, then you will get an update today that's going to say which ones are closing tomorrow, okay? So if you're not on the email list, go ahead and go to the grant or the funding opportunities list. Grab that list anyway because you're going to need it at some point, and then you'll be automatically put on the email list so that you'll get the updates about which applications are closing tomorrow, so you can get those done. And they're somewhat easy, and if you've been with us for a while, you'll get through them pretty easy, so don't worry too much. If you dedicate like the rest of the day to getting it done, you'll get it done. And then also if you are on that list, you'll also get an update on this grant list, this application as well. Okay, so we'll do that right after we get off of live. Right after? No, a little bit later today, because like maybe around 3, and only because I have a training right after this. So you'll get that. So what we'll do first is the Fin Impact. If you go to finimpact.com, we're going to be doing that application first, and then we'll finish the other application from yesterday, because this one is, I'm assuming, going to be a little bit shorter, and the other one was a lot longer and more involved. But this deadline, the other one's deadline doesn't close for a while, so we have time to finish it. All right. Let's just get through this one since the application deadline is on Monday. Finimpact.com. Okay. Finimpact. Fin, impact.com. That's what we're going to be doing right now. And then once you get into the website, you're going to go to, let me see. Oh, it's right at the front. It says the Fin Impact Embracing Equity Women's Empowerment Business Grant. That's the one that you're going to click on. The one that's $17,500. And I didn't forget, but I have to update that list that we were like kind of tracking the amount of money that we've done in funding applications. So I'll probably do that on Wednesday when we come back, so we can see like percentage wise where we're going to land. So once you click on that page, it's right at the front. So go ahead and click on that. And then once you go there, it's going to say apply. There's going to be a big white button that says apply right at the front. So we're going to be applying for the Embracing Equity Women's Empowerment Business Grant. It's funding up to, it's providing up to $10,000 in funding, right? So let's look at some of the qualifications. Yeah, this one is really easy. We're going to get through this in a couple minutes, so we can do this one first. First, they want you to complete the application form. So following submission of the form, containing an email containing your specific voting link will be sent to you. The form can be found here, which is kind of below anyway. And then they're saying share on social networks what your business does, a challenge you've faced and overcome, right? And the voting link sent to you by email. So they want you to share this video on social media in addition to the voting link so people can vote for your business. And then they're going to ask you if you want to really be proactive about this, you're going to have to create content around this content or around this application to really generate votes and get people to vote for your business. Okay. I'm trying to think of how we can make this like a community thing. How can we make this a community thing? I'd like some feedback on how we can make this more of a community thing. Like, so we're all voting for each other. And then we're also kind of creating some ideas about how we can generate more votes for our business. If you want to do something like that, let me know. I could try to work out the semantics of that. All right. So they're giving out $1,750 in total. It's broken up into 3 prizes: $10,000 for the grand prize, $5,000 for the second place. You said Clubhouse is a good resource. That's a good point. Yeah, we can probably create a Clubhouse to do that. We could try that. I'll look into like how we could send each other's links to each other, or where like one central place where the links could be. That's really what my question is about this one. Like, where could we house the link? Maybe a Discord. That might work. Okay, maybe a Discord too. Maybe okay. We'll work that out before we go. All right. So $10,000 for the grand prize, first prize winner, $5,000 for the second prize winner, and then $2,500 for the third prize winner. So there's 3 opportunities. So don't worry about competing with each other. Let's just like try to help each other win for real, because somebody's gonna get funded something. All right. And then also let's look at the qualifications if they put any here. Okay, tips from the judges. This is good to know, right? Your identity, not only what your business does, but also your business culture and social outlook. All right. So when you're answering these questions, think about framing the questions relating to your business culture and social outlook. All right. What you believe in, what motivates you, and what principles you care about and try to affect. All right. How the money will help your business, given we know that they're going to ask that every time, right? Provide specific details on how the money will be spent, including facts, figures, and numbers. Right? We know that. We're going to put that anyway, because that's what we do. And then use photo or video. Show us your business in a video and in pictures. Keep in mind that it doesn't have to be professional. So they just want to know pretty much what your business would look like. For me, I want to develop something in the fintech space. I don't have a prototype or any like UI design yet. So that doesn't apply to me. I'm still going to apply anyway. All right. So they're saying that let people know that you want to vote, make several social media postings, and let people know about this chance for your company. Share your specific voting link as far as you can with your customers and followers. I would say every day, multiple times a day if you can. Request likes and shares from your loved ones for your post. So spam them, really. Provide specific details on how the money will be spent, including facts, figures, and numbers. Okay. How do we choose the winners, right? Following the conclusion of the grant application and voting session, we will select 10 finalists from among the 100 businesses that we received the most votes. So they're deciding the finalists based on the number of the voting power that you've generated for your business, okay? If you are chosen as a finalist, you will speak with Fin Impact staff to discuss your business in greater detail. All right. This will offer you one final opportunity to persuade us to choose your company for the $5,000 or $10,000 business grant. The team will select and notify the grand prize winner by June 1st. So you're applying by May 1st. That means you have maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. This is me guessing, before they consolidate the top 10 and then decide to talk to your business a little bit more about why you should win. All right. How much impact? What are the application requirements? Okay. At least one of the business founders must be a woman. Okay. So if you have a co-founder and you're not the majority owner, that's fine. Because usually it says a percentage breakup, but it just says one of the business founders have to be a woman, right? But we still know that's not going to deter us from applying. We're going to apply anyway. Or a woman, multiple women or woman, multiple must have a large shareholder or equity founder, so 51% or more. Or own a share at least equal to that of her or their male co-founder. Okay. The business has fewer than 99 employees. The applicant must fill one of the main leadership positions. All right. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday. So either they have an exec position, a managerial position, or they are some kind of director or high level position in the business. So when you're talking about your title or you're introducing yourself, do not put that you're just the founder. Put your executive position. Are you going to manage operations? Are you going to be executing things? Are you in charge of finances? So put your position there, right? The deadline is interesting because it says May 1st, but it says the application deadline is tomorrow. So glad we got this today. All right, must be an American citizen, and the applicant must have a good command of the English language, both written and verbal. All right, so moving on. Let's go ahead and fill out the application now because that's enough about that. All right, there's a couple comments. Let's see what we're talking about. Messages. All right. Sorry, I was kind of like just talking. Really interested in your content and pulled in multiple directions right now. Taking closer look in May. Okay, I think you're saying that you're gonna look closer to the content in May. I need to come up with the business. I just need help with an idea. Okay, there's a link in my bio that says, I'm gonna tell you right now, that says proposal consultation. If you want to work one-on-one with me, you can click on that one. And that's for people who already have like a pitch deck proposal and like their business already outlined. But if you want to just kind of flesh out your idea, we can book an hour for that one. All right. And then also, okay, so that's it. So let's start the application now. So for anyone that's just joining us, we're going to do the finimpact.com grant. And once you get on that, finimpact.com is right on the front page. All right, so your name, and remember to open a Word doc so that you can save your answers, okay? Let me actually do that as I'm telling you to do that. Impact, home. You file, new doc, and this is gonna be FinImpact. Impact application. Alrighty. So save. All right. So your email should be, if you have one, use your business's email. So the email that's tied to your business and likely has your business email or your business website attached to the end of it. The tail end of it, like after the at, okay? And then your phone number should be the same. If you have an 800 number, that's better. If you don't, that's all right, but consider getting one, okay? Link to social media. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. If you have a social media account that's strictly business, use that one. LinkedIn is perceived as more professional. Use that instead. But since this is like a social media driven thing and they want you to provide like a link where you're going to be sharing your info because you're going to be promoting votes, I would say use your social media, but use the one that's the cleanest, like the most professional, okay? And I put that in air quotes because we know what professional really means, but we'll get into that another time. All right, so let's go ahead and put our LinkedIn bio if we're going to put our LinkedIn email for our LinkedIn URL if we're going to be using social media links, all right? And then we're going to talk about our business. So when we're talking about our business, they actually tell you what they want to know. They want to know what sector or industry does your business operate in, all right? And then how long have you been operating? What's unique about your business and how you operate? They've only given you 255 characters. So we're going to have to be succinct and concise about what we're answering. But what sector or business that your industry is in should be pretty straightforward, right? So say your company's name. I'm going to use, who am I going to use as an example today? Who am I going to pick on today? Let's see. Okay, I don't know who I'm picking on today. But I'm going to pick on, I'll I'll use my company name then. So I'll say credit conversion is the kind of company that we are, right? So company that you are and industry that you're in may be a little different, right? So I would say that we're a B2B business in the blank industry, right? So whatever industry you fall into. So if you are in, and you want to use the overarching industry, you don't want to use the industry that you're like segmented into. So you could be, for example, if you're in beauty, that's the overarching. But then if you provide like skincare products, then the segment is skincare. All right. So sector, you could say I'm in beauty, or you could even break it down and say more specifically skincare and oral care, or whatever the segment is, right? So that's how we break it down. The industry that has the biggest market size, and then whatever segment you fall into. Okay. Any questions about that? If you're not sure what industry you're in, I would use statista.com. I would go in there and type in your product or your service or whatever it is that you do and see what comes up for the industry, okay? If you're not sure what segment you're in, it will give you the segment information as well, or it'll break down different segments. You can be in multiple segments and multiple industries, but always pick the one that has the highest market size, because when you're expressing how you're going to get a piece of that market share, you want to be able to talk about being able to capture most of that market share and how big your problem actually is. So always pick the one that has the biggest market share. All right. Any questions on that before we go to the second part of about your business? Okay, how long have you been operating? Pretty straightforward. You can let them know in a number as far as like a year, or you could say this company has been in operation since 2020 or 2019 or whatever year that you've been in operation, right? So you could say the year, you could say we've been in operation for over 10 years or 10 years or whatever, or as of whatever it's going to be this many years. As of June, it'll be this many years. Or you can say we've been in operation since 2020. I don't want to drag these answers out too long because they only give us 255 characters. So we're going to try to just keep these concise. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is what is unique about how your business operates, right? So this is really good if you already have, what if it's a startup? It didn't state whether or not this is exclusive to businesses that are not startups or not. So if you are a startup, I would just say that for the second part of the question, I would probably say something along the lines of how long you've been starting up. So if you just brand new, say we've been in operation for 3 months and we're in the phase where we are trying to gain either a proof of concept, trying to launch, we're trying to grow, wherever you are in that startup phase, okay? Just kind of talk about what your startup phase is and still how long ago you started. And if you haven't started, talk about your business idea or how soon you plan to launch this business idea, right? Okay. So if you plan on launching it in 6 months, talk about this is a startup idea with a projected timeline to launch in 6 months, right? So that's how you can frame that if you haven't already started yet. So then what is unique about your business, how your business operates? So the unique thing about your business, if you already have a SWOT analysis, then you can just pull from your opportunities, or you could pull from your strengths, right? If you don't have a SWOT analysis, then you're going to have to break down a little bit what your business does and how it does it differently than any other business in the marketplace. Now, it does not have to be and we talked about this a little bit yesterday too, it doesn't have to be like this grand, innovative, amazing thing. If your business saves a consumer time, money, effort, something, that's what makes you unique about how your business operates. Or you could also be unique about how your business operates. Maybe it's your experience. Maybe it's how you structured the business. Maybe it's a new way that maybe you have like a hybrid method of approaching whatever problem it is that you have in your market, right? So if it is something that you're just going to think, you have to sit and think about a little bit about what makes your business unique. And that is going to be what's different from other businesses in that same space. All right. And once you have that, you're going to put the part of the answer, the question in the answer. What makes your company, you're going to put your company name, what makes credit conversion unique is its approach to B2B funding or or fintech or alternative lending or whatever space that you're in, right? And then you're going to break down a little bit about what that looks like. All right. Any questions on that? Because I really can't give you the answer to that because I don't know what makes your business unique, unfortunately, but I can help you frame the question. So once you've had that answer down, you can talk about your company makes your company, you're going to say your company name, unique approach to the marketing industry is that we have found a way to decrease CPMs when marketing on Facebook. Right? So that's what you do differently. Maybe most companies don't have a strategic way of lowering the cost per click or cost per impression on Facebook. So if that's something that you do differently, that's your differentiator, that's what makes you unique, that's what you can talk about, right? If you have a interesting way of solving a problem, or if you have a problem that is understood but not widely accepted, and you want to create more visibility around that problem, you can talk about that too, right? So for example, I don't know if she's in here. Let me see. No, she's not in here, so I'm not going to pick on her. But yesterday I spoke to someone and we talked about what made her business different, and it was just simply the fact that she has like a two-phase approach to her revenue model. That's it. That's what made her business different, right? And that would allow her to have what we called diverse or revenue diversity, which is great, and funders like to know that because it lets them know that you have multiple ways of making money, right? And usually within that business, there's only one model of revenue. So that is something that differentiates her, okay? So we're on question number 3, if no one has questions about number 2. And I think I've figured out how you guys can ask questions or like requests to be invited to the live or whatever. So if you want to, and you have a specific question about your business, please feel free to do that now because we have time, because there's not that many questions on here. Anyone questions about this, or you want to join the live? You want to ask your specific question? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, so I'm going to move on. All right, so for the funding question, I have so many questions. I don't know where to start. Okay, you can start. I don't have a business, but trying to figure out something. Okay, so for both of you guys, you're going to go to the link in my bio and you're going to click on the one that says proposal consultation. That is typically reserved for people who have already like their pitch or their proposal and they just want someone to look over it and like refine it. But if you don't have a proof of concept yet, then you can just book a 1-hour consultation to kind of like flesh it out or ask your questions. If you send the questions ahead of time, then that will help streamline that. But if you don't, then we can just kind of flesh it out in that hour. Okay, so that's what that link is for. It's called proposal consultation. You can grab an hour spot there. Okay. How will you utilize Fin Impact's Women Empowerment Grant? Okay. Every funder is going to ask you this question, point blank, period. We've gone through so many applications. These are funding for small business. Yes, ma'am. All right. So we've gone through so many applications and we've seen this question so many times, right? So they're asking the first part of question 3 is if you win the $10,000 grant, you will utilize the grant for, right? And if this is your first time starting a company or you're a startup, we're going to break these costs down. Or if you're scaling or growing, we're going to break these costs down into 2 different things. The first one is going to be your one-time startup costs. So these are going to be costs that are fixed and they will not change independent of whatever you have going on, right? So your equipment that you're going to buy one time, this is going to be a logo or a website that you're going to create one time. Those are going to be like one-time startup cost or one-time operating costs that you're going to need to either start or scale your business, right? So that's what those costs are for. The second thing we're going to talk about, and you can break those down. So if you have, this only gives you 255 characters. So I would say maybe when you're framing that, if you're doing just the startup cost, I would say securing funding through Fin Impact, because we always put their names, right? Securing funding through Fin Impact would allow your company, let's use Color Meba, would allow Color Meba to be able to access this, and that, and then put the funding amount next to it. Okay. So if you need a website, then how much a website would cost. If you need a logo, how much a logo will cost. If you need a CRM to be able to manage your customers' relationships, put that and break down the cost next to that. All right. It doesn't really give you a ton of space. So again, just be succinct. Securing funding through Fin Impact would allow Color Meba to secure or to provide funds for one-time startup the following one-time startup cost, and then break those down what those are and the actual cost. All right. Same thing for the $5,000 grant. All right. If you have not, you're going to structure it the same way for the $5,000 grant, essentially. The second thing that you can consider, no problem. The second thing that you can consider is that if you are going to talk about your annual operating cost, all right? So there's one-time startup cost, and then there's operating cost. Thank you. There's no glow up. I'm doing an interview after we finish this. That's why I'm made up now, because I'm not going to have time to do it in between. So, but thank you for the compliment. You're going to have two costs technically. So the first cost is going to be your startup cost, right? And then the operating cost. So your operating costs are going to be costs that are independent of anything that's going on. So annual operating costs are the costs you're gonna first of all hash that out over a 12-year period, because this is annual, right? I didn't say that yesterday, but we're gonna account for it in a 12-year period. So the amount you're putting is going to be over 12 months, right? So your annual operating costs are also going to be things that are recurring and independent of your startup costs and independent of how much money you make. And these are going to be continuous expenses. So your rent, utilities, phone, internet, marketing, administrative overhead. And you're going to calculate that in a 12-month window. So for example, if my rent is $1, example, right? Then I'm going to say that I need $12 because I need $12 over 12 months, right? So that's why we're going to break it down that way. Okay. So those are going to be the two categories of cost that you're going to pretty much account for, and you're going to break down what you would do in those cases. Now, here's the thing. First of all, I would try to get as close to the funding amount as possible that you can. So let's say you're answering the question for the 10,000. Think about as many items as you need that will go into that $10,000 box. All right. Or a total to $10,000. And then do the same thing for the 5,000. Startup cost or annual operating cost, and separate those out. These are going to be for the startup cost. These are going to be for the operating cost. And this is the total of both costs if you have both. Now, let's say you go a little bit over $10,000. Let's say you work that out and then it's like, oh, snap, I really need like $11,000, right? You can say that anything, so you can put your narrative and break it down so that you're saying all costs, all the discrepancy in cost or cost outside of the funding amount will be accounted for this way, right? And that way could be another grant. It could be a loan. It could be an owner's contribution. It could be a business contribution. However, you're going to make up for the difference in those funds, right? So don't get too caught up on like it doesn't fit the exact amount. But if it does, try to get as close to the funding amount, and that's across grants. So try to get as close to the funding amount as possible. And if it's not inside or within that funding amount and it goes a little bit over, that's fine. Just mark it so that you are accounting for the difference in the cost. Yes, we know that the grant is $10,000. If your funding is 11, then just say we've accounted for the difference in cost, $1,000, through a loan, grant, another grant, whatever, right? Or however you plan on accounting for it. Does that make sense? Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Okay, awesome. So that's pretty much that. That's this application. There's not a ton of information that you're putting down, and I think they're doing that because they want you to work through that voting piece, right? That voting element that they're going to be using to hash out the business. I'm trying to think of how we could do this. We had one request for a group on, what's the name of that site? I forgot this that fast. What did she say? She said, Clubhouse. That's what it was. Okay. So we had one request for Clubhouse. And then we also had another one for, oh, I said earlier, Discord, right? I'm going to look into either option and what makes the most sense for us to be able to submit our links and then make sure that we're each voting for each other, okay? If you guys are interested in something like that. You'll just have to let me know. Okay, if you are filling out this application and you want to be part of that Discord, I'm going to generate interest based on you going to the link in my bio and submitting your link at the bottom of the page, right? So there's like a fillable page. And if you go to the bottom of that page, you'll see like a place where you can put your email, your name, and then you could just drop your link in there and I'll help you promote your link, because I don't think I'm actually doing this one. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, do I want to share my business idea? I'm thinking about it. But either way, I'm just going to make sure that we all get each other voted or voting for each other. But you guys still have to do the legwork of making sure that you're voting and putting voting power behind your business, okay? If you have an email list, this is a great place to get votes. If you are active on social media, there's a great place to put your votes in there. You worry about sharing ideas? No, my business idea, not necessarily business ideas in general. Yeah, I do worry about it because how to explain it? So we're building out a fintech platform, and the way we have it structured, well, the way I have it structured, it's not easily replicable, but someone could take the idea and kind of run with it if I do share all the details of it. So I'm thinking about what my holdups are, right? Is that when this says share what your business does, I would have to pretty much disclose some of that to an extent. And I'm trying to figure out how much I feel comfortable sharing, but would still engage people enough to want to vote, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. I might do it, I might not. I'm not really 100% sure yet, to be honest with you. But anyway, I'm not sure. But I have till tomorrow to decide, so I'm gonna sleep on it. But okay, so if you want for to be involved in this, then we'll go ahead and you can go ahead and drop your link. When you finish applying, if you drop your link, I could share it across my email list. I don't mind, but just think of different creative ways that you can put some muscle behind your votes. Okay, that's that. So let's go to yesterday's application so we can finish that one. Okay, any questions? Remember to save your answers, okay? Any questions before we get started on the next application? Or we finished a previous application, rather. None at this time. All right, awesome. So yesterday we started the Black Ambition Prize Competition application, and we're going to finish it. So what we left off yesterday was the business model and customer acquisition questions, okay? Things that you should really be thinking about and or be preparing for anyway, right? So just pull up your Word doc from yesterday and let's just kind of continue filling that in, all right? Let's open a note. Actually, no. Sorry, one second, y'all. Okay, so what gives you confidence that customers would want to use your product? Right? Great question. What gives you confidence that your customers would want to use your products? Credit conversion is confident that customers would want to use our products because because it offers the consumer or customer a way to save time on video editing. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super convoluted. Like don't do too much. It's only 100 words that they give you, right? And then talk about a little bit about what benefit your consumer receives from engaging with your products, right? So you're going to say it saves time. Now we're going to quantify that by saying traditional methods of doing this, that, or the third, or using this, that, and the third lead to turnover of 4%. And with our products, they are able to save or acquire more time in their business by allowing consumers to streamline their own processes and saves admin 20 hours or whatever the case may be, right? Or limits turnover or adds this or adds that. So you're going to do a little bit of a comparison here. The reason why you're confident is because the traditional way of doing things leads to this problem, right? Which is the problem that you're solving. We're always talking in terms of problem and solution. So the traditional way or the alternative ways or the regular way or the widely adopted way of doing things leads to this problem, okay? Or doesn't account for this or doesn't help the consumer or customers with this. Our solution, your business, would allow the customer to, and then outline the benefits that are a result of you solving that problem. And that's why customers will want to engage with you, right? Do we get that? Problem, solution. You're confident because the traditional way of doing things leads to this problem. When you implement your solution, this is how the customer benefits. Yes? Hello, Jolina. Okay. Hey, so what is your business model? Okay, so business models can vary across industries and across businesses, right? So I can't tell you what your business model is, but I will tell you that I will give you a couple of considerations, all right? One, think about whether your business does business with other businesses. If it does, then you are B2B, okay? So business to business, all right? If your business does not do business with other businesses, but is direct to consumer, so that means like I'm a consumer, I go to your store and I buy your product, but you're not engaging with my business, you are business to consumer, all right? Direct to consumer is kind of the same way, right? Direct to consumer is just a little bit more so that you're like, direct to consumer would be more like an e-commerce store or like e-commerce spaces where it's not necessarily just me. Well, technically, well, just me directly dealing with you, it's somewhere where a consumer can go. All right. Business to consumer, that can also be an option. You just have to mingle all of those pieces together. Marketplace would be somewhere like Amazon. All right. I'm almost pretty sure, well, unless you have like maybe a boutique or something, that could be retail. Channel sales, I haven't run across any of you guys that are doing channel sales, but if you guys do, then you guys can outline what that would look like for your business, right? If you are, okay, for example, channel sales could be like, kind of, don't take this for face value, but kind of like, think about affiliate marketing in a way. Like your business would sell other things for other businesses, right? You would just use yourself as a channel, but don't think of it as a marketplace like Amazon. It would be more like, how could I explain it? Okay, licensing is a good example of kind of channel sales, right? So let's say, for example, I create this entire product into a course, and then you have a business that does business consulting. You could probably license my course and then sell it through maybe white label it and sell it through your own platform, right? That could be a channel sale, a strategy. SaaS would be where you have a software that is a service. So you turn the service that you have into some kind of software. Software as a service is what SaaS stands for. And then, or you are a small to medium business, right? So those are the options that they put, but those are not the options you have to put. You got to think about what your business model is. All right. And then once you have your business model down, what you want to articulate is that pretty cool. Didn't know that existed. Oh yeah, there's a lot of different business models, a lot of hybrid models too, a lot of different ways you can kind of mix and match things, right? And we could talk about that more another time. What is your business model? So once you figure out what your business model is, if it's a hybrid model, you want to talk about the fact that there's more than one model being implemented, but you also want to mention the one that's the most prominent, or the one that is the most useful and revenue generating. Definitely the one that generates the most revenue, because they're asking, example, how does your solution generate revenue, right? So if your business model is direct to consumer, now you also want to maybe consider how, since it's asking you how you generate revenue, think about your revenue model too, right? So are you a marketplace and then you charge a fee for being on your marketplace? Because that's not necessarily a transactional revenue model. That might be more of like a affiliate or a sales model, different models that you can implement. So once you know which one you have, talk about how you structured your model. Credit conversion is a business to business, or implement a business to business model. And we primarily generate revenue through transactional sales, right? That's how we mostly generate revenue. But I would say there's only 150 words, but I would say maybe include somewhere where you're talking about revenue diversification, because and I'm going to tell you how to format that. You want to talk about revenue diversification because for a business to business space, for example, it's really hard to just be a transactional business, because once the transaction happens, that's it. There's no lifetime value for the customer. So I would say for myself, because this will apply to myself, as of right now, we implement a transactional revenue model. However, in the future, we plan on implementing a subscription model to increase the lifetime value of the consumer through our business, so that I know I'm generating consistent income, right? So I would talk about what your model is now, and then maybe look at other ways that you can improve on it in the future, so that you are diversifying how you're generating revenue. Is that helpful? Yes, no, maybe so. I need y'all to tell me. I don't want to be talking to myself in this camera, y'all. I swear I don't. All right, cool. So, all right. So, can your product and or service be distributed nationally? So, for example, right? When I was in the personal finance space, when we had clients or consumers that would want to come in for credit repair, we could not service Georgia and we could not service Ohio. So if this was the product that I was trying to get funding for now, I would have to say no, right? Because my service cannot be distributed nationally because there are certain states that have restrictions around that service or that product. So you should know that whether or not your product or service can be sold nationally, all right, or can be distributed nationally. So look into that. And if you're not sure, that would definitely be something you need to do. If you're 100% sure, then the answer to that is yes. Okay. All right. Next question. I'm at an event just listening today. Which application is this? This is the Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023. Okay, so if you Google that, it'll come up. It's like a weird platform with a really long link. So if you have to have to Google Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023. All right, so what is your distribution strategy to deliver your product or service to your customers? I think I know that one. Okay, good. So if you're going to be distributing, there's a couple of different ways that you can be distributing. If this is a service and you're going to be remote, then you want to talk about the remote parts of your business, all right? You want to say that you are going to be 100% remote, or you're going to have a hybrid model where you're remote and there are abilities to be or you can provide services on site, right? That's the language behind being able to do both. So you're either going to be remote or on site, or maybe a hybrid of both, if that's your service, right? So customers will be able to come to you in both of those ways, all right? Distribution for your service could also be a little bit about, no, marketing is next. So not even. So it really is just asking you how you're going to do that. So if you are providing a service or product per se, you might want to talk a little bit more about your the platform in which that you're going to be doing it. So are you going to be are you going to have a brick and mortar location? Meaning that you have a store where someone can come to, right? Are you going to be doing it online? Are you going to be in the e-commerce space? So if you're in the e-commerce space, then you want to talk about maybe the platform that you're going to be using and a little bit about why you want to use that platform. So if you're going to be using Shopify, for example, give a little bit of detail about why you want to use Shopify. Or you could talk about, as far as strategy is concerned, let's look at some options. Oh, where did my application go? All right, so you can, as far as strategy is concerned, this is the second part, right? So first you want to talk about the distribution channel or the distribution method, and then the strategy behind your method, okay? If, for example, if you're going to be using a remote model, then you could say that part of your distribution strategy is that you are able to use AI to automate some processes, right? And that will allow you to be able to get wider reach or save time, whatever it allows you to do, all right? What else? Distribution strategy to deliver your product. Or if it's a product, you can talk about maybe wanting to be part of different distribution networks. Like, for example, Walmart, right? Or maybe you can put your stuff on Amazon, even though you have a marketplace or you have an e-commerce platform where you're going to be housing your stuff. You can go to other distributors as well. You can go to Walmart, Target. If depending on what your product is, you can say you want to be in Kohl's, or that your long-term goal is to be in different retail stores, or even even if you have a product, you can even talk about how you ultimately want to go wholesale, right? And you want to distribute your product to other products. I have a client who, she is a hair distributor. She sells direct to consumer, but she also sells to businesses. So she sells it wholesale, but she also sells, so she sells wholesale to salons, but she also sells B2B as well, right? B2C, excuse me. She sells direct to consumer. So she has a place where she goes. If you don't have that relationship yet, is it okay if you don't know it, but that you want to as a goal? Yeah, you can talk about that being a goal. So if you, or just leave it out for now. No, you can put it as a goal, right? Because you want to be intentional, showing that this is something that you intend on doing. So you could say that right now you're direct to consumer, but you anticipate in a year from now you'll be also you'll be B2B as well, right? So for that client, that's something that I would put down for her. If I were doing a proposal for her, I was consulting with her on what to do. When I was consulting with her on what to do, I informed her that she should outline different distribution channels, and her strategy would be that she right now wants to master being able to go direct to consumer, and then ultimately, once she has enough proof of concept around her hair being quality, go from just consumers to different businesses and give them at the wholesale price. Okay? Good. I'm happy you're here too. All right. So that could be your distribution strategy. Distribution, really, if you're thinking about it from a wide lens, just think about where your product is going to be, right? And that's going to be part of your strategy. So if you have a product, where else can it live outside of just your store or just your marketplace or just your shop or whatever, right? For example, if you have even if you plan on, let's say we go back and we say, can your product be, or your just part of your distribution is that you have a brick and mortar store. That's fine, but you could say that part of your distribution strategy is that you want to put your product in other different local businesses, and they get a cut and you get a cut. Like you do a profit split with them, right? That's an option too. So you're getting in front of more people and they know that coming back to you. One of my clients' distribution strategies in the past, or one of my actually past distribution strategies, was that when I had specifically a role in this company, I used to tell them, it was a home care agency, and I would tell her, thank you. So I would tell her, whenever you're going to different case managers to get new clients, also go to neighboring bakeries, right? And get cake samples, like little sweets and treats and whatever, and let them know on this day I'll be going to this case management office, and tell her to call ahead, like, hey, there's this many people here, so you know how many treats to bring, and then you would bring that many treats, right? Tell the baker, I'm going to be going to this place, especially if it's a new business. I'm going to be going to this place. There's going to be this many eyes. Put your label on the cake, and then that would generate new business for the baker. But it also would have a byproduct. The byproduct effect would be that they appreciated her for just bringing baked goods that she didn't have to bake, right? So your part of your distribution strategy could just be working with other local agencies to generate more business or create a profit split. So I buy some of this, and then, or you sell this to them for cheaper, or you could sell this to them for the whole price, and then they mark it up, and then you get a piece of that profit from whatever they sell it for, right? Because they're more established than you. Or maybe if they are more established than you, then you can do it that way. Does that make sense? I'm trying to give you as many ideas as I can think of, because I don't know if you guys have these ideas or not, right? So let me know if that's helpful, and if you guys need any more examples. All right. What is your marketing and sales strategy to reach more customers, users? Now, this is going to be a little bit different than the distribution. Marketing is how you're going to get in front of your customers, right? So marketing and sales are going to be, so marketing, so you got to kind of approach this from a two-prong approach. And we only have 150 words, so think about everything I'm telling you and just kind of capture it in 150 words. But marketing on one end is just going to be how you're going to get in front of your customer. And then the sales is really going to be how you land and keep your customer. Okay. So your marketing is going to be, we plan on increasing visibility, by using search engine optimization. All right. If that is the best marketing strategy for your industry and your type of business, then put that down. All right. If that's the most common use, for example, a lot of beauty businesses use cost per click campaigns on Google, right? Or they'll use Facebook ads. So if your marketing strategy is that you're going to use cost per click campaigns, outline that. Okay. And a lot of us do use social media, so a lot of us will probably be saying that. But you can use SEO, you can use cost per click campaigns, which is called a CPC campaign. You could use podcast. You could use, you can create a podcast, or you can use podcasts to leverage different audiences within that marketplace. You can do public relations, right? You can go try to get media mentions or placements in different spots. That's part of your marketing. And then sales on the back end is going to be how you're going to convert these people and keep them, right? Are you going to have a sales team? Are you going to have a retargeting or a an infrastructure in your email list or pixels or anything that's going to keep retargeting the customer to want to come back to you, right? So for example, like, you ever click on a link in a store and you put something in your cart and then you don't buy it, but then they'll send you an email like an hour later, say, hey, you forgot this. That could be part of your sales strategy, right? So you're going to outline how you're going to not only reach more customers, but also keep them too, if you have enough space to talk about that. But definitely reach more customers. But you can put little inserts in other businesses. So if you ever, let's say you ever got like a package from like HelloFresh or something, and there's like a bunch of different inserts or brands promoting to you, like with a coupon or something like that. That's one way that you can market your business too. That's how you can reach more people. You can talk about radio, you can talk about television, you can talk about media. There's a bunch of different ways that you can try to get in front of your customers. All right. So what is going to be the marketing strategy that works the best for your industry though? So don't just put a bunch of stuff. I am sick. I'm so sorry you're sick. Sorry. So think about what's going to work the most for your business, for your industry. What's the best practices? And you want to talk about those and do those, right? Because if someone calls you, for example, says, hey, we loved your application, we've gotten really good insight about your business, could you tell us a little bit more about why, the basis for your marketing strategy? You want to be able to say across the board, the basis for our marketing strategy, is industry standards. These are the industry way of doing things. This is what works across this industry, right? So that's why you want to be able to do that. Approximately how much revenue have you generated? 0 is an option. So I'm assuming that for people who have not generated or are pre-revenue, they are able to do this, okay? Specifically, how much revenue have you generated to date? It gives you an option between January 2021 and 23 to be able to put a spot in there, to put a number in there, all right? Any other questions about that before we move on? We got a couple other questions to answer, but most of them are demographic stuff, so we should be all right as far as time. Any other questions? No, okay. How much revenue did you generate? Okay, is there any additional context you would like to provide around your revenue or your growth rate? So this would be good. If you're pre-revenue, then this does not apply to you. But if this question kind of applies to you, but not directly. So if you want to talk about your growth rate, then, or around your revenue, then you can talk about if there's any changes between why your revenue went down. So let's say you did great in 2021, but you didn't do so great in 2022. I would probably provide a little bit of context as to why there was a revenue change, right? What caused your revenue to change? If there was a growth in your revenue, boast about that, right? We were able to implement this marketing strategy and this worked, which in turn allowed our business to realize a whatever percentage increase in revenue, right? So you definitely want to talk about that if that's something that you were able to do. So when they're asking you to provide additional context, they're asking you how much you generated to date in 23, how much you generated in 22, and how much you generated in 21. So if there's a difference between those numbers, this is a good spot with 100 words where you can talk about any differences in that revenue. First, if it went down, talk about what caused it to go down. Lack of funding, lack of capitalization, policy changes. Maybe there was a law that changed. Does not amount of revenue you potentially make influence their decision? Not in a lot of cases. There are pre-revenue grants and funding. They just want to make sure that you have a good proof of concept, right? So her Divine Alchemy, I was looking for you earlier to pick on you, but you weren't in here. But welcome back. So there is also, if your revenue went down, talk about what caused your revenue to go down, right? And if it went up, then really, really brag about what you did that changed the revenue from what it was in the 21 to make it go up in 22, and then what you're doing now in 23, all right? Approximately how many customers or users have you reached to date? That would be the direct number, not impressions, not like other stats like that. Happy Saturday. So I would talk about the exact number of people that you're able to acquire and keep, all right? And then if you have not, I would just keep it at 0, all right? Don't worry about that one too much. Is there any additional context you would like to provide around your customers or users? Provide any additional context, right? So if your user base has grown, then you want to talk about your user base growing. If your user base has gone down for some reason, you want to talk about that. Provide any additional context around your customer or user, all right? That's that. Have you raised any funding to date? Yes. Put in that amount. There's a range. If you have not, just put 0. If you raised funding, where have you raised funding? And they're asking you to list the sources, all right? And they're asking you how much funding have you raised to date. And the funding, okay, so dilutive form funding is funding that you had to give equity up for your company. If you have not, money needed for staff you will hire. Yes, those are called administrative overhead, all right? That's going to be one of the items that you're going to put down. So how much dilutive funding is going to be how much funding have you received in exchange for equity in your company, all right? If you have not had to give any equity or control over for your company, then these are all 0 and not relevant to you. Should we be transparent about other funding raised, or would they think they already have funding? Yes, no, be transparent. There's no need to lie in any of these applications at all. Be transparent about where you are. Because here's the thing about that, right? I've seen it happen so many times where you'll apply for a grant and then you'll get an email and they're telling you, hey, we couldn't fund you, or we didn't think that you'd be best suited for this level of funding, but here's another opportunity that we think you'll be better suited for. Or if you're interested in investing, this is an investor who might be interested in your project or your initiative, right? So you want to be transparent about where you are. And this is why we're building relationships with these people, which I'm going to teach you guys at another time. A lot of people have just been focused more so on getting through the applications. But as far as follow-up is concerned, this is why we're building relationships, because you want to know, like, hey, okay, I didn't get funded. That's cool. I don't just want the money anyway. Is there a network, a person, an investor, somebody that you can, an accelerator, another program, something you can connect me to that would also help me move forward, right? So you can't do that. It's like kind of like going to a doctor. If I don't know what illness your business has, I can't give you the prescription or the right treatment. So you want to be very transparent about where you are so that they can give you solutions for it if they can. All right. But that's going to be you have to be proactive on your part, talking about, I wasn't funded. I would love to still work or partner with your corporation or organization another way. Do you have other opportunities or individuals who are best suited to help in this way, right? So they would move on if you have funding. No. So for example, my project, right? My project would probably cost upwards to like $750 to $1,000 to $1 million to launch, right? So me applying for a $500 grant is really silly. Okay, let's be for real. It's not wise. It also doesn't make a lot of sense time-wise to be doing that, right? But at the same time, if someone gives me $500, am I going to tell them no? Absolutely not, right? Because that's also silly too. I need help with grant writing. Okay, so if you need help with grant writing, there's a link in my bio that says proposal professional plan, and that would probably be good for you. Okay. So I would say, and the reason why we've been breaking down these, and I'm gonna keep going, I promise. We've been distracted. But I would say that there is a lot of different I forgot what I was saying now. Oh, $1 million. Okay. There's a lot. So we've been breaking down the cost of the actual applications that we were doing, right? So we looked at the dates that we did them, the funding amount, and you have to think in terms of percentages, right? So it's a numbers game. So we've done over, like from the last time I updated this, it was like upwards of like almost $500,000 in funding applications that we did. If I think to myself, they fund at about 2%, I know how many applications I need to do to get closer to $1 million, if that makes sense, and how long it might take me. Right? While I'm still working in my business every day, I still have to get clients. I still have to generate revenue. Still have to do that. But they're going to know if you've already received funding. So let's say I've already received $200,000 in funding. That's fine because I really need $1 million. So it doesn't matter if that makes any sense. Right? So don't count yourself out because you've already had funding. But this dilutive funding is specifically funding related to exchange of value for your business. So that means that you've gotten funding and you said, hey, here's $25,000 for 6% equity in my business. That's so weird. I got a weird notification from TikTok. But anyway, if your business has not gotten funding and said, yes, I want this funding in exchange for percentage or equity in my business, then this does not relate to you. All right. Non-dilutive funding is funding that has no exchange for your business whatsoever. So you did not have to give up part of your business for that funding. So this is probably not related to you at all. All right. So 0, 0, 0s across the board. Black Ambition Prize. Has your team previously applied for Black Ambition Prize? No. How did you hear about Black Ambition Prize? We're going to put other, and then we're going to specify Mental Money Podcast because that's been paying off, right? We learned about that yesterday. So if you can put other, or if you did hear about this somewhere else like Jolena did, then thank you. So please be specific about where you did hear about it. But if you are hearing about it through us or through me, then please put Mental Money Podcast, because what we want to do in the future is be able to partner with some of these companies as well when they start seeing our name on here. All right. All right. How many employees do you currently have? You are included in the number of employees. So if you are seeing the number 1, you are 1. All right. If you are 1. Tell us why this problem matters to you and your team, and what is driving you to address it. Okay, so when you're talking about the narrative around what's driving you to address it, think about what sparked the need for this business, right? What kind of got you going, all right? So for example, I'm going to give you an example of my business, and then we're just going to keep moving on because we're already at 22, right? So for us, we wanted to see more African American women funded through non-traditional lending, right? This was a problem because a lot of Black women, unfortunately, and I'm not calling us out in a negative light at all. This is just the reality of it, okay? And what I've experienced through my line of work. We are not in a position credit-wise, we're not in a position funding-wise, equity-wise, revenue-wise, no-wise, to be able to access traditional lending the way the banks want us to access it. So what I'm proposing is building an alternative lending platform that will be able to give us access, all right? So why this problem matters is because it's isolating an entire population of business women who concurrently are the leading business starters in this country, right? So of the businesses that started last year, 63% of them were started by minority women, and then they don't have the capital, they don't have the funds that they need to run these businesses. That's the problem. That's why this problem matters. And also, I'm a Black woman. That's why this problem matters to me too, all right? What's driving us to do it is addressing this problem and allowing Black women to have other alternative ways of getting lending. All right. That is not predatory and that does not have super high interest rates that are going to be counterintuitive to be able to run a business. All right. It doesn't need to leverage your personal credit. That's what we're doing. That's why this matters to me. So think about what your problem is and frame it in the sense where how big of this problem is, why it exists, and how you and your team kind of what sparked the issue for you. I saw this issue. I realized that this happened. I wasn't happy with how this was being handled in this industry. I realized that there were alternative ways of doing this. That was why this problem matters to you, because you're coming to the awareness that something has to be changed, and your unique proposition is what's allowing this to change. Does that help in any way, shape, or form? Okay, awesome. Share an experience that demonstrates what makes you a successful entrepreneur. So this is an opportunity to really boast about yourself, right? A challenge that you've overcome. You want to talk about, and I'm going to pick on you today because I realize that you're still in here. Sharita. Sharita, you want to boast about being able to partner with that company that you're partnering with, right? So really boast about that. What experience demonstrates that you're a successful entrepreneur? You were able to strategically partner with a company that will allow you to execute your growth plans. That is what makes you successful. You strategically negotiated that. You realized the need for it. You were able to either negotiate or communicate why this is necessary. You got people on board, which means that you're able to rally people to your mission, your goals, your vision. So that is an experience that demonstrates that you are successful. Revenue is not the only way to demonstrate success, right? It's one way. It's a really big key indicator. Don't to get that wrong. However, what soft skills, think about some of the soft skills and hard skills that you need as an entrepreneur, and when you've had to apply those skills and lean into this answer, all right? So talk about a time you had to communicate something effectively. Talk about a time you had to negotiate something. Talk about an experience around scaling or growing or partnering, or when you have to be strategic, or a challenge that you overcame. And that will allow you to demonstrate what makes you a successful entrepreneur outside of just revenue, all right? And that could be around employees, contractors, whatever, all right? So now I see why the girl was talking about like team stuff, or why she was assuming that there were multiple applicants in this thing, because now they're asking about a lot of team questions. But again, I'm still gonna apply, so that's fine. What else? Where are we? Okay, who else is on your team and why are they best positioned to execute on this idea? So if there is other people on your team, you want to talk about their role. And if they're not, then that's fine. But when you're talking about this, you want to talk about their experience, not just like why or what they're doing. Like if it's a CFO, for example, I would talk about I would say Anna is a CFO with over 10 years of experience in the financial strategy space, right? So I would tie in her experience related to that industry to why this person is also positioned to execute this idea, because she has industry knowledge and experience. I wouldn't just say, oh, Anna is in this position because she was the best person that I could find that could help me, right? Because that's not really what they want to know. They want to know if there is other people that are helping you with this, why are they qualified to do this, all right? And what experience do they have within this industry? Either marketing, are they marketing professionals in beauty? Are they marketing professionals in, do they come from the ERG space? Whatever it might be, what is it about you or whoever else may be on your team that is able to help you execute that idea, all right? Team leader is asking for name, email, phone number, information, gender, race. I'm just kind of like skimming through these. How you self-describe, indicate if there are any other identifiers, so like LGBTQ, US, veterans, disability, any of those things. Their information relevant to like LinkedIn, their role in the company, if that's relevant. If it's not, if you have no other, then you could just put other if there's nobody else. And then team member one, team leader would probably be you. And then if there's no other team member, then I would probably just put other or other for wherever those mandatory spaces are. So, yeah, other is a sufficient answer here. And then not applicable for wherever you have to put in space. All right. And then there's a next button, but I haven't been filling this out with y'all. So let me see. I'm sorry, 1 second. I really haven't been doing this with y'all, so it's now I can't go next. Terrible. Cereble. All right. Second. Sorry about that. Hold on, please. Is this gonna go into day 3? We don't want a day 3 on this, do we? That's not what you want. Okay. Because okay, is it still frozen? I think I paused it and came back. Gotcha. Okay, got it. All right, so when you click on the next button, it's just going to prompt you to submit. And if there's any errors, it's going to tell you to edit it. And then this one is due on May 8th. Okay, so you guys have a little bit of time to do the video upload explaining what you're doing and why. You guys also have some time to answer these questions, really create some thoughtful questions. If you need any support on your answers before you submit this one, then you can This is the Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023. So if you click on that link, then you'll be able, if you Google it, you'll be able to find it that way, because the link is kind of like wonky. So, I mean, the URL is kind of wonky. So if you Google Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023, then you can find that one. Okay. Any questions? No problem. So any questions? I know this application was very involved. If you guys, thank you so much for your thoughtful and efficient work through. This is amazing. No problem. So if you guys have any questions before you submit this and you guys want support on this specific application, you can click the link in the bio that says proposal consultation, and that will give you an hour. All right. So that we can work through some of these answers if you don't feel confident. If you do feel confident, go ahead and apply. This is on May 8th. This is due. So not this Monday coming up, but the next Monday. All right. Yes. All right. So then what else? So we did the Black Ambition Prize Competition application, and then we also did the Fin Impact Women Empowerment Grant. So if you go to finimpact.com, it's right at the front. All right. I will be back on live on Wednesday because I got a couple things to do, but Wednesday. And then also there's no other applications coming up like anytime soon for real. Let me see. There's one on the 7th, which is the SheaMoisture, but we already did that one, right? So there's one on the 7th. We did that one. The Verizon Digital Ready is coming up on the 12th. So if you actually want to do the Verizon one, we can, but you would have to do some preliminary work before that, because they want you to sign up for their platform, and you have to do 2 courses with them, which are short. It's like an hour. You have to do 2 courses with them at minimum before you can apply for or even open the grant link. So if you want to do that one, you have to do the courses first. I'll make an announcement about that. For the applications that are coming up, deadline tomorrow, I'm going to send an email. If you're on the email list, you'll get that email about the ones that are coming up tomorrow, and make sure that you did those. Okay. I'm trying to think of what else. And then until then, there's really not another one until the 14th, 15th-ish. So, well, not even, because it's an accelerator. It's not a grant. So there's not another one until the 31st for real, which is the WFN Fast Pitch Grant, which is the one that we kind of already went through. We went through that one already. And that was the one that had the 2 sides. That was the tech-enabled side. And then there was the other one that was the consumer goods side. And we already went through that application. But remember, it was very involved, kind of like this one. They wanted to know a lot of information. So if you need support on that one as well before you apply on the 31st, let me know. All right. Black Pitch Competition is not due till June 1st. And we can actually do that one on Wednesday. All right. So it's going to be due in about a month, but we can do that one on Wednesday. And then we'll go from there, because everything else is really through August. So if anyone doesn't have any other questions, good luck with your interview. Have a great weekend. I'm going to get on your email list now. Thanks. No problem. So the email list is, if you download the funding opportunities list, you'll automatically be put on the email list. All right. So if you don't have any other questions, comments, concerns, then I'm going to go. But if you do, then you can email us by filling out the form in the link in the bio all the way at the bottom. Put your name, your email address, and whatever message it is that you want to send us. All right. Have a great weekend. See you next time. Thank you again. No problem. So again, we're going to come back on Wednesday and we'll do this application, the National Black Pitch Competition. All right. So I'll see you later. No, that's not what I want to do. All right. I'm just going to hang around if anyone has questions. Don't be afraid. I don't bite unless you're into that kind of thing. But even then, I'm not going to bite you because there's a lot of things going around right now. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Sorry, I'm a fool sometimes, just a little bit. Yeah, so please feel free to ask. Or y'all could just look at me for the next 10 minutes if y'all want. That's fine. That works too. I want to thank you for spending the time helping us. God bless you. Thank you. I will take all those blessings. I will take all of them. All right. Okay, so this is done. That's done. You too. Okay. What does this do? Oh, May 8th, okay. No questions? Okay. All right, so if not, I'm gonna head out. Y'all be good and have a good weekend. Thank you again for joining me.